Somebody got the idea of building a school up on the divide.
Yeah, I've known people have talked about that before, but I think they kind of figured out that if you do that, you're going to lose your ends going to Glasgow and Malta anyway, so
Yeah.
you're not going to gain a whole lot.
We had a meeting down here. Oh my God, that really got hot. I wasn't involved in that. I was there. I just listened. I never opened my mouth. But holy smokes. Well, it probably was a good idea to keep the schools.
Yeah.
Because if you got your school here, you got some businesses.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't got a school here,
Was Seiko always kind of a little bit smaller, or were they a little bit kind of bigger? Was it always about the
they
same?
were bigger for a while, but
well, see, for years, we had the grocery store here, and Seiko didn't have one.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's the other way around.
Yeah.
but that is, I did see that listed for sale again
That store?
at Seiko.
But
Yeah.
we have a bank.
Yeah,
Take that.
That's what brings them down here.
Yeah. It sure is nice having that butcher shop over there, though, in
Yeah.
Seiko. And he does such a good job.
does he?
Yeah. He makes really good pork sausage
Oh.
he seasons it for breakfast. That's about the best thing ever.
Oh, I've never, of course, we used to do that too,
Mm-hmm.
cut up meat. In fact, what happened, we'd cut up meat for people, and one time Harvey Jones brought in a beef, and we cut it up and wrapped it and put it in boxes and got it ready to go. And Harvey stopped up there at the store with his truck. And he said, I'm going home, and he says, that beef is ready, I should take it. I said, no, Harvey, I said, we can't put that in the back of that truck. Oh yes, he said, put it in there. Well, we finally did. Oh God, he no more than got home, and the phone rang, and it was Leora. And she wasn't happy, I mean tell you, and if you knew Leora, when she got unhappy, she used words that you shouldn't use anywhere. Oh gee. Well, what had happened, that's me sitting in the back there, and that bumps up and down that truck, all the wrapping come on.
Oh.
And she had to rewrap it. I don't blame her for being upset. I tried to talk Harvey out of it, but he wouldn't do it. Well, after that, we made some space down in the basement where we had 3, maybe we had 4 deep freezes down there.
Oh.
People would buy a deep freeze and put it down there, and we'd cut the beef up and just put it in the deep freeze for them.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, that worked good.
Yeah, I've been in that basement a couple times. It's about the best use I've ever seen is some of the classes down here will put on a haunted house in that basement.
Oh, did they?
And that gets people about every time. Luke's class did that, and he said that was the funnest thing. Because just walking down there, you don't have to do anything, and it's scary. But I was actually going to ask you, was it that northwest corner down there? There's a little room fenced off with chicken wire. Was that there when you guys were there?
Well, it was chicken, well, it's screen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that was our flower room.
Oh, okay. So was that to keep the mice out then?
Yeah.
Okay, I've always wondered. I was like, did someone have chickens
that's
down
still
here or
down
what?
Well, we did that. I didn't know that was still down there. I hadn't been in that basement for,
There used to be an elevator down
well, we had it.
Oh, really?
There's an elevator in the back, yeah.
Oh, really? I've never seen
to
that.
take stuff back in
It's a hand operated.
It takes me forever to find the stairs down there. They're hidden on me. Then some of that floor is starting to give way on the south end, which is sad.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and I've never been upstairs. I'm assuming the upstairs is nicer because the downstairs is kind of starting to fall apart a bit.
Oh,
the, well, upstairs, you mean in the lodge hall?
Hmm. Yeah, I've never been up there. I'm assuming they got it fixed up.
well, the one thing that was most bad about that, the heat,
Mm-hmm.
that old coal furnace was converted into a gas furnace, which heated the place, but it should have had a different heating system.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just, nobody had enough money to do it.
It was a big building with a lot of space.
Yeah,
That's a lot to heat.
Oh, there's a floor furnace, is that what you used?
well, it was a floor furnace,
Yeah.
right in the middle there, that big old furnace.
Do you guys remember when they had the depot out across the highway there?
Yeah,
I heard from some people that almost a bigger landmark than the depot was the cottonwood tree next to it. I've heard that a lot of people really had a big connection with
Oh,
that.
there was a big
It
old
was
cottonwood.
beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, I was fire chief when that burned up. And it got going so bad before we could get there that we had this new fire truck. And I remember that when they brought that fire truck in here, they said, now, you hook that up to a hydrant. Be careful when you get that water going out of there, don't shut it off fast. Just a little bit at a time, because you're gonna blow somebody's toilet right out of it. You know, that water was flowing so fast, you're sucking it out of there.
Oh yeah.
And if you'd shut it off, well, there'd be a backlash, you know.
Oh, that wouldn't be good.
And that's the first place I think that I remember running that thing, was right up there. We couldn't put it out, it got going too tough before.
And that was an intentional fire, wasn't it? Didn't someone set
Well,
it on fire?
they did, they did figure out that it was, I guess.
I heard someone was trying to steal something that was in the mail or something
Well,
like that.
Yeah, what happened, I think the bank ordered in some money. And they tried to pin that on Bud Hillman, but he was innocent, absolutely innocent. But what did it turn out to be? The depot operator, wasn't it?
That's what I thought, wasn't it Stuff?
Yeah, I think his name was Stuff.
Why were they trying to pin it on Hillman? Was he one of the people that knew it was coming
Well,
in?
he knew that the money was
He was the
coming.
banker.
I guess that was the theory.
They were looking at who knew
Yeah.
knew it was coming in, huh?
But they run him through the mail, I'll tell you. But they couldn't prove it, so they dropped it. But then they finally kept on with it and figured out that guy that was a depot operator up there knew it and found out about it and took the money and.
Well, that probably makes the most sense. Is the
Yeah.
person, if it was burned at the depot, he probably,
Yeah.
that makes the most
I
sense.
think, I can't remember what his first name was. There was an Irvin Stuff, but it
No, it
wasn't.
wasn't him.
And then there was the one that was played on the orchestra.
You had mentioned the orchestra. Do you guys remember the bandstand at all?
Well,
Oh,
that's where
yes.
that bandstand sat in that
Mhm.
area where I planted the grass.
Yeah, I know from Edry's notes, she said that was the last place that it was, and I think,
Yeah,
as far as, the only thing I've heard is I think what happened to it is the FFA went and tore it apart and built a fence. Is that?
well, I think it got so rickety that they was scared somebody would get hurt in there, so they just tore it down.
Kids used to play in there.
Oh, yeah, they used to have music in the evening
Hmm.
up there. Of course, we had quite a few musicians around here. Harmon Tuttle and Reg Tuttle and
Hearsters.
Hearsters, yeah.
Then Seiko always had the Merrymakers. There was Stuff there and Dorothy Conlon, and we had good dance music.
There must have been quite a few good dances over at the Legion back then, huh?
Oh,
Boy.
boy.
Well, we had a gal that came in and taught square dancing too.
Yeah,
And then she ended up with, we did waltzes and everything. She was really good.
We don't have very many big dances
Had the
anymore.
gym full of people.
I was just thinking about that the other day. I touched Francine's foot underneath the table there, seniors, and she said, "What are you trying to do, kick my shins?" And that was one of the big things. When Dad was barbering, of course, at that time, they heated the water and put a hot towel on the guy's face, you know, to
Mhm.
soften the whiskers, and Helmer Lund come in, and he apparently had been in there and got a shave, and the water wasn't real hot. And he said, I remember him saying, "Well, if this goddamn place had any hot water, I'd get a shave." Dad said, "Sit down, Helmer, I got hot water." Well, what had happened, Dad was heating this water on, they had a little kerosene stove about that big around, with they had a bucket on. Well, I suppose the water got about lukewarm. Anyway, Dad was telling Henry Westrom was Fred Westrom's half brother, and he was in the hardware store with him, and he worked back in the shop, and he come in there and Dad was telling him what he needed hot water. And Henry said, you know, he said, I've been thinking that I could build a hot water heater. Dad said, boy, if you could, I sure would like one. He says, I need it for the bathtub that I got back there and then for the barber's business too. And he did. He took some copper pipe and he heated it and he made it, curled it up like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then about that time we had gas for heat, so he got a gas burner and he put that gas burner underneath that, and he got a little wood stove with a door in the front, and he mounted that coil in there, and then he hooked it up to the water line and lit that gas burner, and boy, I'll tell you what, the water that come through there was hot. I remember sitting there in the barbershop, and boy, Dad had got this towel underneath that, and the steam was just rising up. He kept putting that under there, you know, and finally he slapped that on Helmer's face, and his feet went just like that. He never said a word though. And, oh God. Well, Dad had another barber in there by the name of Neil Kent, and Neil said, I watched you, Homer, and he said, you got that towel pretty damn hot. Dad said, you know something? He said, I wouldn't have been a bit surprised if all the skin had to come off of his face when I took it off. But, and that goes back to, I know Elmer thought, I'll get even with him. Well, these dances that they had at the hall down there, Dad come home, I remember, and he was having a bad time. They had a shin kicking contest down there, and old Helmer come along with his boot, you know, and he hit him about here, and he just took the skin all off his shin.
Ow!
Dad come home and he was trying to doctor that up. He said, "Goddamn Helmer!" So Helmer got even with him right there.
You didn't go over to the doctors?
No, well, it was at night. Hell, it was.
Midnight.
Yeah, that was after the dance.
Mm.
Yeah, we used to have a doctor's office too.
Oh yeah.
That's where I had my tonsils taken out.
And me.
But at that time, you'd walk up there and you'd get on this gurney and it'd put you to sleep, and then when you got woke up, you were home.
And he was able to do surgeries like that, huh?
Oh yeah,
Well, someone had to, I guess.
yeah. And I didn't know till afterwards that Maxine, my cousin, told me. She said, "Oh, we knew you were having that, so we followed the car all the way home."
Oh yeah, I had a tooth that had to be removed. Well, Doc said to Dad, "Bring him over, I'll pull the tooth for him." Well, I was just scared to death. And he had a little thing that they put in your mouth, it's supposed to hold your mouth open. He said that thing wouldn't hold my mouth open. I closed it anyway. I don't know if they ever got the tooth pulled. But, yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, he was a good doctor, and he delivered a lot of babies. And he actually, Julius Walber, my uncle that had the drugstore, he was not a pharmacist, but Dr. Cockrell would give a prescription, and then he would come over and fill it. Julius had all the ingredients on his hand, and the doctor would come and fill it, and then they'd sell it, but it worked. They still have few little bottles in the basement that say Walber Drug on them.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, talk about not throwing things away. We've got quite a few. Yeah, there's lots of things have happened, good and bad.
As long as there's more good than bad, right?
Well, it seems like it.
When I get together with Peggy Denham, it just gets to be a riot.
Yeah, she was up here for the reunion this year, wasn't she?
Well, I don't know, she used to come to see me before she left. Her and I could get that whole crew to just laughing like crazy.
The thing, because her dad had the bar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think her daughter and grandson were up here over the 4th, and they were talking with me, and I was I do all this stuff, and
Yeah.
I was sharing some stuff with them, and they were sharing some pictures of the bar and stuff, and that was really kind of cool that they were still coming up here.
Yeah.
It's a nice family.
Oh, Monty was a character, but she's got him beat.
Well, actually, it's her
Well,
son.
you know,
that
I had that barbershop, and I spent most of my time up there. I shined shoes in there for 10 cents and there was an old sheep herder that worked for whites and black. They had sheep on Rock Creek. And so he'd spend probably 6 months out there, and then he had to go on a bender. He'd come into town, and he'd get about half drunk, and he'd go all buy all the change out of the bar, cash register, and then the drugstore, and then over to Westrom's. And then he'd go out in the street, and he'd throw that money in the air and let out a yell. Well, I picked up a silver dollar,
Oh, wow.
and I couldn't have picked up $1 million and made me any happier.
all the kids in town were there.
Oh yeah, everybody knew what the heck was his name? Shorty Kiefer.
Shorty Keeper, yeah.
And, oh yes, and I got telling Peggy, and I got talking about it. She said, oh yeah, he'd come in and he had false teeth. And Dad had a little cubby hole there that he let him put his false teeth in. So I had some girl come up there with me, and I showed her his false teeth, and she put them in her mouth.
Peggy, yeah.
She wasn't very shy, huh?
Well, Monty, we were good friends. We done a lot of things together. He worked in Malta in the bars. He was a bartender. Well, I never went up there, but what he didn't make sure that he caught me on the street, and he always had a story to tell me. And that guy, we used to get robbed up here quite often.
Oh, really?
And so I decided myself that I was going to stop that. And so I put a intercom system in the store, and I ran a wire from the store to my house. And then when they broke in, I grabbed my shotgun and I went up there and this one guy, he parked he had stolen this car and he parked it in front of the store heading north. And he left it sitting out in front, running. And I got on the other side of the bank, and when he come out of the store with his stuff, well, I let him, I hollered halt, and he didn't stop, but he went and got in the back of this car, and opened up the hood, and put it in the trunk. But I wouldn't let him get around to get in the car to drive off. And it happened to be that there was a freight train going through town, and he seen it, and he ran up there, kept the car between me and him, and he ran up there, on the train, got away. Well, there was another time that these guys broke into the store, and he parked on the north side of the store heading west. And I got in my car and I drove up and I turned around and I come back and I was heading north. And he seen me, so he started his car and he went across the main street up there. And when he went across, I took 2 shots at him, broadside. Well, Monty was tending bar at the Rainbow Room. And he heard this, so he come tearing out there to see what was going on. And while we were talking, this guy went up west and he turned around and come back because he'd left his friends in the store. and so I said, I'm gonna chase him down. Monty said, I'll go with you. I said, okay, you run the shotgun. And so my car I had a lot more to it than his, and so I run up behind him and I'd hit him in the bumper and I'd twist the wheel when I do that and he'd go back and forth. Well, I couldn't get him off the highway until we got up on top of the hill out there. And I finally run him in the ditch. Well, I stopped the car and I opened the door and I got out, but I didn't know if he had a gun or not, so I didn't want to get out in the open. Well, Monty moved over in the driver's seat and he drove the damn car off. I said, Monty, you darn fool. I said, he could have shot me. Oh, he said, I never thought about that. Well, about that time, the sheriff from Glasgow came along. And so he picked the guy up and took him. And I give Monty a bad time about that.
He was too much in the moment. He was having fun, evidently.
Yeah, he was just having fun. He wasn't serious about it.
What did he say?
He said, I don't know what you want. I said, take a shot at him, Monty. Maybe he'll stop. Why, hell, I wouldn't shoot at a guy who just was hungry. He was going in there to get some bloated to eat, you know. I said, yeah, all right.
He robbed me.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you one thing that really made me feel bad. Monty, you always come down here for Memorial Day.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the program up there at the hall. Well, Charlotte and I drove up there, and as we drove up, Monty walked out that back door. And I got out and I said, for God's sake, Denham, are you still alive? Hell yes, I'm alive! And he got in the car and went home and died.
Oh.
I felt bad about that.
Well, he had to show you one last time.
Yeah, he was always full of
I
jokes.
felt bad about that.
He probably didn't remember it.
No, he probably didn't. But he had a story. I'm telling you, no matter what it was, he had a good story for it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, that's too bad about Steve.
Yeah. Sounds like he'll probably make it out of it. Just gonna be a rough journey.
When he retired and came out here and what it was like. Of course, his dad was from Missoula to begin with,
Mm-hmm.
Stretch. And he liked Montana. He wanted to come back and,
Oh, I really enjoyed talking to him.
yeah.
He wanted to know one time, he said, you know, when the train goes through here and whistles, how far north can you hear it? And Louis Weil happened to be there, and he said, you know, on a real cold morning, I could hear that up there at the Canadian border.
Yeah, that's right. That was used to be the mixed dairy out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Frederick Gillette used to own that place.
Mm.
And I can remember as a kid, I went out there with, he had a son by the name of Noah that was my age, and I went out there with him. Well, it rained while we were out there, and we were standing in the garage. And like a dummy, I went over and leaned against the garage door, and the garage door flew open, and I sat down in this water puddle. and he laughed and laughed and laughed at me. We drove out to that place last summer, and everything is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they burned that.
Garage and the house and everything.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll last forever, and sometimes they just kind of go.
I think Itchart tore it down because
Either Edgeharts or Cornwall.
if you don't use it, you're paying taxes on that stuff.
Yeah, and if your cows start getting in it or something like that, there's risk.
But Edgeharts, when they had it, when we first sold it to them, they took care. But Cornwall's, then didn't they have something to do with it later on?
Well,
They got it now.
They're still out there.
I think they're still running it. But you're talking about buildings falling down. Probably the one for me that was the saddest. Not that it made a whole lot of difference to the building, but that Quality place way up north there at Genevieve that
Oh, yeah.
that building fell down about 5 years ago, and that was kind of sad. But it was just a homestead shack. I mean, it's not like you could ever use it for anything. But it was always kind of cool to have that. 'Cause, I mean, it was my great grandfather Ole Qualley that started that. He
Yeah.
wasn't there very long before he died, but then Olaf and Donna, and I don't know how long.
Yeah.
I don't really know if Donna really lived up there very long at all.
Oh, she lived in Tampico.
But that was after Olaf had died, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, was he?
I can't remember.
It was. We used to go out there with the McElvains,
Mhm.
with Alice.
Yeah.
Maybe he was already dead. I can't remember. But I remember what Olaf looked like too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. We have Grandma Donna's diaries. I'll have to go through them someday.
Oh yeah.
well, they moved that house that's up there over to the ranch house, over to the where the and they made I think it a hired man's.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't, they didn't sleep there or anything, I don't know whether they went out there to eat or what they did.
Kind of a cook shack almost.
Well, no, they didn't cook in there. But I didn't quite understand what they did with it.
They just wanted something to look at.
It might have been. No, it was fairly well fixed up inside.
Where's it at now? Which way did
That house, they moved it over to the yard in the Hitchards. Don't you?
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they were using it for an office.
Oh, that makes
That
sense.
was an office?
Yeah, because I was in there, there was a desk and stuff.
You haven't been down to that Hinsdale livestock in a long time.
Oh,
Well,
Yeah, I don't
had
think
good-
it's really called that anymore, but
no, well, because after Joe and Jean got out of there.
Well, they sold that to a guy by the name of Carroll.
Then
All of his holdings around here.
yeah.
Because we drove up Rock Creek, and you get up on top of the hill, just before you go down Rock Creek, there's a sign up there. Carroll's land.
yeah, they don't want you on it.
So we were talking last night up there at the supper about hunting, and I said, well, you guys have never been hunting if you haven't been hunting with Elmer Burns. Well, what's so different about that? I said, well, you know, he'd go hunting with us, and then he'd always, when he'd quit, he'd go up to the bar. And I said, the number of birds that we shot always doubled when you got to the bar. But you know, I had, we of course we got goose hunting, we always had breakfast early in the morning, like 4 o'clock or something like that. And, so I volunteered breakfast one year, and Elmer said, okay, if you cook the breakfast, I'll bring in the pancakes. Okay. Well, he brought in pancakes, they were sourdough. Well, was it Clark Cleveland or one of the,
No, it was Kenny, McKinney.
one of the teachers that were going out with us, and they
Okay.
got some pancakes and went in and started eating them, and they come out and poked me on the shoulder. I said, what's the matter? Hey, you know them pancakes are spoiled, Bob? I said, no, them are sourdough. Oh, Elmer was there listening. He said, oh God, he said, didn't I remember to take my socks out of that?
Larry McKinney.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He knew how to get it,
Yeah.
put a joke at those
He
teachers,
was
huh?
a math teacher.
Oh, Elmer,